Hello?
Radio has always been about connecting people, reaching across continents, and bridging divides. But there's always been a flaw. Radio waves don't wait to be heard. If you're not in front of the receiver when the signal comes through, all you hear is the noise. Boondock Echo changes everything by automatically recording, transcribing, and optionally acting on every message that comes through. You'll never miss a transmission again, even if you're not in front of your radio. From remote mountain peaks to busy cities, the future of radio is here. Keyword recognition can email you important messages. IFTTT integration means your radio can now control anything that has electrons running through it, which these days is just about everything. Boondock Echo has even more features. Get yours by backing us at Crowd Supply.
Good after, evening, noon. Welcome to the Ham Radio Kids Table. We are not your grandpa's ham radio.
No, we are not. And apparently I still can't figure out how to do that, Vince. And I channel
my inner Arthur Cronauer from Good Morning Vietnam. There we are.
You know, I'll tell you what, Sunday mornings when I do my live stream from the park, I kind of want to do that. I want to scream out "Good Morning Vietnam," but I think the people walking their dogs on the trail might look at me funny, but as if they're not already. But hey, good evening, everybody. How are you guys tonight?
Good, awesome. Man. How are you?
I'm listening. I'm watching everybody feverishly type in the chat there. But hey, good evening. Tonight we are we have got our friend Mark here from Boondock Echo and Casey. Echo. And I'm sorry, did somebody say Boondock Echo?
I think I heard Boondock Echo. Did you hear Boondock Echo, Paul?
So, but wanted to have these guys on because I wanted to talk about the product because I think it's a cool thing. But not only that is kind of the integration of AI and amateur radio, things that we're doing that are kind of ham adjacent but can help the hobby, augment, add to the hobby, and kind of once again going along the lines with the theme of this isn't your grandpa's ham radio anymore, right? So real quick, I guess Mark, if you and Casey could introduce yourselves real quick.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name's Mark, and along with Casey and another friend Jesse, who isn't here tonight, we founded Boondock Technologies and brought to you the original Boondock Echo. And tonight we're going to be introducing its companion, the Boondock Tango.
Hang on a second. I am so sorry. There we go. All right, you're in big end now.
All right, the Boondock Tango, which is a build-it-at-home scanner radio companion. It'll be able to do everything that the Boondock does, except it can transmit. We are currently working with Maker's Fab to have this little add-on board made. Hopefully soon you'll be able to order it, and then you can plug it into the you'll be able to plug it in to the board that's in your Boondock Tango, add a little coupler cable, and then you'll be able to transmit too. But it's at this point a couple months off. But we're getting there. And the case is big enough that you should have room for both.
Hey, Mark, make it for something like this and we're good.
Okay, Frank, I'm really glad you said that. I am. So I was feverishly coding last week because Casey was too busy. It's like, Mark, I need you to code, which it's like, we've got an amateur fire department and I'm actually part of their IT help. If they ever actually call me, something really bad's happened. And the same thing happened when Casey asked me to code. You know, you guys have all heard of the million monkey theory, right? If you have a million monkeys all typing, eventually one of them writes Shakespeare. I'm that millionth monkey. That's me coding. So, Frank, all of that's to say, I got you covered, pal.
Fantastic.
If you check our Discord as of yesterday, and then I just updated it again a few hours ago, we have written this code so that it will adapt to any scanner that has a serial interface.
Let's see. They should have a serial. I know it has USB. Yeah, it has serial too.
That's it. So if it's USB, it's going to have a USB to UART on chip inside. So you'll be able to control that too with very similar commands to the ones we're using.
Yeah.
All of that.
This is one that I was telling you about.
we will be able to control that. And you might actually be able to control it now by changing just 1 or 2 lines of code.
Hey, that sounds like fun.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you say control it, what does that entail?
You get to own this device. You'll be able to change the volume, the squelch, the frequency, the search range, all of it.
Okay, so
Really,
you're actually using it as a front end interface for the scanner. Then is that what it sounds like?
yeah. The goal, and Casey's working, and he'll introduce himself next. Casey's working on this aspect, but you should be able to go to our webpage, and from your phone, your computer, whatever, you should be able to change the frequency there, and then it will change the scanner frequency. So you kind of have remote rig control, except again, right now it's receive only.
Okay. So if I'm out at the mall or something, and I'm bored and I'm just listening to the scanner on my phone, I could theoretically say only lock in on these frequencies or whatever I have set up. Does that sound?
Yeah. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you just have it monitoring your local ham radio net. No big deal. That's you're listening. And remember, we're a transcription service too. So we take that audio and we convert it into text. And then all of a sudden you hear the police sirens racing down the street and you want to know what's going on. Well, then you could go to Boondock Echo webpage and change and say, hey, I want to listen to the police stations now. And I want the transcriptions of that. So if you have Pulse Point, what's the companion one to that? Where
Don't
Citizen.
Oh, okay.
Citizen. So if you have Citizen or whatever, and you're like, well, what's going on the police radio frequencies near me? You'll be able to remotely change your scanner to listen to those.
I thought you were going to say the other app that I don't like that you and I have talked about.
The one that's duty.
Yes, the duty one.
No, not that one.
Oh, is that the San Francisco Dookie? Dookie.
No,
walk?
it's just it. We'll talk after stream, Tim.
So, out of curiosity, Fiat Lux here asks, does it require port forwarding?
No.
Great question.
No. But let's get Casey, because I've been talking here. Let's introduce Casey here. I don't know why we don't get to see him, but is he talking?
Thank you, Mark. And hi, everyone. I'm really glad to be here. And I want to add one thing to everything Mark said is when we started Boondock Technologies, one of our core principle was we want to keep everything open source. So while we also have the commercial aspect, we build the system, we have fees that you have to pay if you want to keep all your recording for several months. But all the features, all the source code is free. If you want to use it on your own, you can do that. Coming back to the question of port forwarding, if you want to use it with Boondock Echo system, like our cloud, boondockecho.com, you don't need port forwarding. You'll be able to control your radio. However, if you don't want to use any of our cloud service, then you'll have to do some port forwarding to access your controller.
Default mode, if you're using our services, you're using our free cloud, whatever, no port forwarding is needed. If you want to roll your own server, you will need to.
So here's a funny thing. Sean says Casey's AI. Just kidding. And that's where I was getting ready to go with that. Mark regularly compliments Casey about being able to solve a problem before anybody ever knows that there's a problem, and that he usually has a solution for it beforehand. So
Casey codes like a mofo. I was talking with my wife the other day, and Casey and I were babysitting a server for a commercial client during a big event, and she's like, "Why do you have to sit on this?" It's like, "Well, Casey's not around." It's like, "Okay, well, why not Jesse or whatever?" Because I was sitting at the computer for like 12 hours, and I'm like, "Listen, if the server breaks, it'll take Casey 90 seconds to fix. It'll take me 15 minutes, and it'll take Jesse 2 hours." And that's not to say that Jesse's dumb or anything. It's just Casey owns the code. right? This is what he does. And he does it fast. That's why I was really surprised he wanted me to solve a problem with the code, but he just gets busy. But dang it, KC, who did it?
You did it, Mark.
That's right.
Yeah, if you ask me to solve a problem with code, I can do that rather quickly. If you play a Morse code and ask me what letter it was, I would not be able to do that.
True. Yeah, there's different code.
Oh,
But
that sounds like an
little-
opportunity to decode and transcribe Morse code.
That was I was going to say that. I'm trying to do a segue. We have also implemented Morse code decoding, and it's one of the features which is it's still not stable with variable. Like if it's a software doing Morse code, all the delay between each dots is same. However, if a person is doing, that is variable. So we are trying to fix that, and I'm sure we'll get that, and we'll have Morse code decoding as well.
Right on.
Yeah. At some point, we'll train a model on it, and then that'll solve the problem. You can variable length, make mistakes, who cares? But right now, it's more of a software thing, and we face the same trouble everybody else does, but not forever, because we got KC.
So that's
Awesome.
interesting, because going along the lines of like the integration of AI, you're talking about training a model, because that you're right, that is the one problem that mechanical or computer-based decoders have. Computer to computer, not a problem. Timing is rigid. When it's Vince's fist or any other operator, there's always that subtle variable. The ones that the human ear and the brain can detect, and then even to the point, it's like you can. They always say you can tell who the other operator is just by the fist, the way they sound. That subtle difference in how they operate. Is that something that can be solved by AI? Can it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the way that you do it is actually pretty simple. You go get, say, 3,000 Morse code messages. You take 1,000 of them and you transcribe them, and you say this equals this. And then you go get another 1,000, and it's like you run them through and you see how it does, and then you tweak the model, and then you're pretty much done. The last 1,000 you just transcribe, and you're like, hey, everything looks good. Woo! I lied about the numbers, of course, but that's kind of the simple version.
So
is it how you would go about it?
So is it 3,000 or is it 30,000 per?
That actually makes a huge difference. And Casey's probably the person to talk to about this, but there is such a thing as overtraining. If you train with too many samples, you're teaching it to look for mistakes. You're teaching it how to identify a specific model rather than leaving it general. Casey, teach us about AI. And there's different types of machine learning. There's Casey.
I finally got it working.
Yay!
There we go.
Yeah, that's
Your audio, buddy. Your audio's gone. It's to the microphone on the camera right now. Okay, so while he does that, there's different types of machine learning while he gets this set up. There's supervised learning, which is what I was talking about. There's unsupervised learning. KC, do we have your audio yet?
Yeah, I should be back now.
Oh, he's back. Okay, then let's let KC take over.
Yeah, so to Mark's point, I will try to oversimplify. Can AI solve all the problems? If you train enough, you can get good results. But you also have another challenge. You have to make a model which is efficient as well as it is small enough to run on a small computer. I mean, you do not want to put a supercomputer just to decode one stream of Morse code. So I would say that is a bigger challenge, how we make everything run in an inexpensive computer so that it is not like it's not thousands of dollars just to decode that. Can I indulge you by showing something which is kind of work? This is something which is under development. We have another efficient.
Let me embiggen you here.
All
there
right.
we go.
So this is work in progress. We were able to create a custom model for transcription and fit a Raspberry Pi 5. What you're seeing right now, we have our Boondock Echo audio kit, a Raspberry Pi running on batteries. this would be able to transcribe near real time, similar to what you see on Boondock Echo. At some point of time, we'll be releasing the source code for everyone to use. So once again, you can buy it from us, or you can build your own.
So, Mark, I have an idea for the Morse code learning.
Sure.
Send a whole setup over to Adam and have him take it with him to every summit activation he does. Yeah, it'll learn very quickly.
If I can get it down to like half an ounce, he might even do it.
Yeah.
You know, I think he has hiked up summits with a 7300 on his back.
Yeah, I think Boondock Echo would be fine.
Just give it to Adam, and he'll shrink it for you.
There you go.
We don't have to send it up the hill with Adam. We can actually just sit here and just capture it right off our radios and do it. But yeah, it's definitely something. It's one of those things. Is it on our radar? It is. But you have to remember that we're still not full time. There's 3 of us, and we've all got families and jobs and kids and dogs, and we're still trying to make a go of this. We kind of need to decide. We are ready to go full time into this business, but we kind of have to decide if we want to give up the part of the company to get money to do it, or can we keep squeaking along, because we do have some corporate clients now. Can we keep squeaking along with that money long enough until we hit those inflection points naturally, and then we retain the control of the company, which is better for us on the back end of things long term, right? So, yeah.
So are we going to see you on a future episode of Shark Tank by chance?
Only if I want the advertising from it. That's really, in my opinion, the only reason to go on that show.
Could be worth some money.
It could be. You never know.
Yeah.
But those deals that those guys try to give those people, I'll give you $100,000 for 95% of your company. No thanks.
It'd be interesting, but yeah, I think the exposure in itself would be
exposure would be huge.
Would be huge.
That's why you go on that place, to be sure. Okay, so we were talking about AI. There's a lot of different ways that people in your audience can use AI right now, right? You don't have to understand all of the different aspects of AI that exist, right? We were talking about some of the different types that exist. You can go out there and use a large language model, something somebody else has trained for you. You've got Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini. There's all sorts of them. And there's paid versions, there's free versions, but you can use them right now. How can you use them right now, you should ask?
How can you use them right now?
I'm really glad you asked. That's a great question, because I was using them to solve problems with my latest programming task. That Casey is like, Mark, you have to program. And I'm like, damn you, Casey. So this past week, I was playing around with the Uniden Bearcat 125 AT. And we're using these along with some other scanners with our corporate clients. And what we wanted was more functionality out of the Bearcat than it had. So what I did with AI was I said, write me a program that connects over the serial port and tries every command from AAA to ZZZ and let me know if you get a response. And it did. And what I was able to do with that, and I don't have to know any code. I didn't make any changes to the code to make this work. And what it did was it ran through there and it found about 18 undocumented functions that don't exist in the command reference that's supplied by Uniden. This has more features than they even tell you about. Why? I have no idea. If they're trying to obfuscate, if it's incompetence, I really couldn't tell you. But what you can do with this now is similar to what you can do with the more expensive scanner. Now, it won't decode digital, no, but I can simulate key presses from the command line. So I can set the frequency of this thing from the command line, which means you can too. So that's just one use of AI for that sort of thing. It's also great if you're doing radio stuff and you're like, listen, and you get this on Josh's channel all night, every night. What radio should I buy? Right? Has a week passed him that somebody hasn't asked him that? So you go on your AI and it's like, listen, here are the things that I like to do. What radios are out there that might be right for me? What price ranges? And you can say, hey, Grok, you know, what do people say about this radio? Are they returned a lot? Is the battery life good? And it will tell you that. So
that's interesting. I'm finding myself starting to use Grok more often for things. When I was talking with you, I just typed in basically trying to just solve a problem with a device that I have, trying to make it smaller. And I told Grok what I was wanting to do, and all of a sudden it starts spitting out variables for me. It basically gave me a bill of materials, a schematic, and everything that I needed to do to build this. Now, granted, that still has to be prototyped and all that other stuff, but it is a starting point for me. And I haven't designed a digital circuit in 30 years, so you know, I can read a schematic with the best of them, but this is going to be it's a fun little project. And actually, I think this summer I want to do something like that as part of a summer activity for the kids table, where we actually do an organized, hey, let's use the AI, let's build a project and kind of work that over the summer, and then have some kind of at the end of the summer, let's get together and show off our project kind of thing. So
how cool is that? And would you have done that if you didn't have that capability?
Absolutely not. No, that's probably why I haven't built a circuit in the last 30 years. It's for that reason right there.
Yeah. That reminds me of something else that I can offer you if you're interested at all. A few years back, I taught a course for a few thousand people. We called it Teach Me PCB, and we taught people just introductory circuit board design. Fixed schematic, but you get to lay it out however you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have the resources from that if you're interested at all.
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, right.
It's shaking his head.
Yes. Pick me. I have a straight key.
So our two.
I got a straight key that needs a circuit board right here that I can put a jack on.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
Like
so
a super simple project.
So the two projects that we did a keyboard and we did a badge, a little electronic badge. I will be happy to share those with you. I will just ask that we don't overshare them because I was paid for that content. So technically it's not mine, but I'm sure I could assist. If you ever need me to, call me back. I'll come on your program and help you guys out.
Absolutely.
That's actually how I met our partner, Jesse. He was a student in one of the courses and he was just blowing everybody out of the water. So I'm like, hey, come teach it. And he did. So
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So so you have the Boondock Echo, which is more of the store-bought, ready to go, off the shelf type one. We have the Boondock Tango, which is more of a make your own thing. It's same back end code for both of them, correct? Is that or
same code,
same code.
Microcontroller, everything. There's really no difference between the two. The Tango is right now designed to work with scanners, and this is cool. You, if nothing else, you need to download and repurpose the Uniden mount for this thing because it's just too cool. I designed the heck out of that thing, so you're gonna want that. But inside, so it's all snapped together. There's no fasteners involved. Inside, there are two boards.
Tim, you want to make them big?
I embiggened him.
Two things. So inside, we've got this little PCB carrier board. And this is the AI Thinker audio kit. You can get it off Amazon, AliExpress, or eBay for about $20-ish. This is the heart of the deal. You do have to put a little SD card in there but Casey will tell you not for much longer. So you need that. And then you also need to add, and let me see if I have these parts out here, a little 2-port USB hub and a USB-A to USB-C converter. And those guys will drop right in. Sorry if I'm blurry here. I guess
Nice.
I can closer to me. And then over here is for an audio. Let me pull out one of those. Here we go. This is for an audio ground loop isolator, since you're going to have the radio or the scanner presumably charging and the Boondock charging. They could have different reference grounds, and then they could communicate over the shared ground audio connector. So the ground loop isolator keeps that from happening. So this is one part. This is the other. They both slide up into the case, and that's pretty much it. We made it so that you can feed the cables out the top here, and then when you slide this up, it gets covered up. So they just shoot out the side, and then there's a little dovetail bottom plate that sits on, and then, I mean, that's it. That's going to be your Tango.
Awesome. I see Greg K6EGG in the chat here, and Greg is a scanner junkie. So he's oh boy, he's excited. I can see it right now.
Yeah.
And he's in your neck of the woods too. I think he's in Chino, 48.7 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. If my memory serves me correct. But so I did post in the chat a link to your GitHub.
Oh, cool!
Site
Thanks.
that has that. So it's got everything, and then I think we can get Frank. Can you throw in the link to the actual website?
Vince already got it.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, Chino's not far from me at all. I'm in La Habra Heights, so 15, 20 minutes. I'm in Chino.
Depending on I guess I was wrong. It's 38.7 miles.
I do believe the 48 was kilometers.
Oh, it could be.
I did see Chris said, that's some interesting engineering there. This is actually like at least the second iteration. I think I might have thrown out all the V1s. But yeah, getting to simple is hard. Because before the first version that I made of this, it had a lot more parts, and it wasn't simple. It worked. It looked cool. It went together much easier, right? There's no fumbling or anything, but it was bigger and bulkier, and it didn't look as good. So this is the simplest that I could figure out how to make this thing. And there's probably simpler ways, but diminishing returns,
Mark, I'm saying this as a ham, not as anything else. You never throw out version 1. You always keep at least one copy.
1 second, Frank.
Just for you, Frank.
Just for me. Yep, I knew it.
Oh, I love that storage bin. I have one just like it.
Right?
The circular storage bin.
Yeah, mine's round.
Yeah.
I store everything that I don't need at La Puente landfill. So this was version 1. And we had this top that snaps in, it's nice. And then we had it did have some things that this one doesn't, that still might be useful to people. So this was the carrier board, right? And this part was kind of cool in and of itself. So you remember that little USB thing? I added a piece to it, and that piece was a 90-degree connector, a 90-degree USB.
Ooh.
So the cool thing about this one was when you put it all together, you could plug a USB-C right into the back of the device, and you were ready to go.
Nice.
But I don't know. I kind of like the way this one came out instead. But I mean, if anybody is so inclined, we could always find them the files. But
version 1 goes up on the shelf for memory use.
For memory use.
Yes,
that's right.
So yeah. So anyways, that was V1. I do like V2 a whole lot better. I think Casey's made both. What do you think, buddy? You've been quiet today.
Yeah, I've seen both. In fact, I have the version 2 right now with its like tail. I think it is lovely. The best part is if you want to take thing like this anywhere outdoors into the field, it's so much easy because you can break it apart so easy and put it back, fix the problem. I was really inspired by Mark about how to build something, especially in ham radio, which you know that you will open it and fix it, change something. A design like this is pretty good. You should look at the designs and study it. It's really good.
Yeah. So now, Mark, you've been a ham for a while, correct?
Since about mid 90s, early 90s.
Okay. And Casey, you're relatively new ham. Is that correct?
Yep, about
Yeah.
3 years maybe.
But
Yeah.
3 years. So were you a ham before you and Mark connected, or was that since you and Mark have connected?
I was a very recent ham, and in fact, I met Mark uh, on a chat discussion about how we can get younger kids involved in ham radio,
Mhm.
and so we were just talking to each other during chat, and then that's how I got introduced to Mark. He talked about a problem. I'm like, I like problems. I like solving them with technology. That's how it all started.
And I'm willing to bet you probably had the code already written before with the answer. So it's interesting. How do we get younger kids involved? Well, this is it right here. It's bringing to them and doing the stuff that is current, the things that they enjoy, the problem solving through practical application is I think the answer, and how you draw it, them in. Mark, you and I were on the fundraiser stream that Josh did the last time, and watching the two young men they had on from the school district out there in New York, and watching those two guys just tear through problems, and how they were super excited about the technology. Right? It's not just amateur radio is a hobby. It's an end, an activity, but it's all the science and everything that goes behind it that we do that I think really drives them. It's that level of problem solving that they haven't gotten before, and then also the ability to wrap your hands around the theoretical, the theoretical stuff that you learn in school, that some people pick it up just by listening. Some people pick it up by reading. Some people, like myself, have to pick it up by putting your hands on it and doing it. And I think these are the kind of activities that will bring the kids into the younger, I'm not going to say kids, but younger folks into amateur radio, and moving away from what has been nobody wants to come into a club meeting and listen to a bunch of old people argue about money or rules or whatever. They want to put their hands on it, do something, and get it going.
I totally agree. And what they're doing in that school is exceptional.
Yep.
I don't know if you know this about me, Tim, but I spent 15 years teaching physics in high school, public high school, in a low-income area. And I'll tell you, if we had tried to do something like that, I would have been shot down fast, and I would have been shot down hard. The kids are on radios. You mean they can listen to what we're saying on the radio? What if they're hacking us? Well, first of all, they never would have allocated any amount of funding to it. We had this program called Science Olympiad, which is a wonderful program. And the district wouldn't pay for it. They expected the teachers to volunteer their time and, budget for the materials that the club needed and all this. And a few of us did it, but it was ridiculous. So seeing that there's administrators out there in New York, and that would even mean they would have had to have school board buy-in, district personnel buy-in, superintendent buy-in. It's unusual, and it's beautiful, and we should do everything we can to support that and see if we can't get it to spread. It'll never go national. You'll never get that level of support, but every time we can get a little wellspring of creativity and inspiration, man, we should do whatever we can to support that. Because You're right.
I,
Sure, go
I'm
ahead,
not.
Tim.
I'm not going to say never, but never say never. You never know what might happen.
I'm gonna say this. So my mom was a director, a special ed director, and so I kind of grew up in that environment. I know what you're talking about, Mark. But today, the common theme today that most school districts have is that they need to have a STEM program.
Yes, they do.
That's the cool thing. So what I do like, and I think I think this helps the having somebody like Steve Goodgame, who is a professional educator, come in and run that has given maybe a different a light, a different set of just would look upon it would be looked at differently than just a bunch of old guys wanting to come in and teach ham radio, right? They're doing it in a professional program. They're getting a national. I don't know if you heard him mention. They're putting together, I guess, a national curriculum to match the national standards. And I guess there's a couple states that have, like Texas has their own curriculum. They're also making modifications to that curriculum to meet those states' specific requirements. And I think that's a great model. That is probably the easiest way to get it adopted, especially since now it's in the national conversation for schools to have STEM programs.
So when I went to high school, Redlands High School, and I graduated in 95 and a half, I left a semester early. We had an electronics class. Like, there might have even been two instructors, if I remember it correctly. It was Mr. V. He's passed away now. But students were repairing electronics in that class. I remember we had this amplifier in the band and somebody shorted something out and it blew up some capacitors. And I went into the classroom and I tore it apart and he got down the manual for me and he was showing me which capacitors to replace and how to solder. Oh my God, wouldn't that be brilliant? It can happen. It will happen at some schools, Frank. I'm telling you, the one that I left will never, ever, ever, ever.
Oh yeah, there's going to be schools like that. No, no, yeah.
So when we find the ones where they're eager, where they're willing, where they're, you've got people that are interested, we should throw every penny that we can at them. There's this great quote from years ago, and I wish I could remember who said it, but all of the greats, the Einsteins, the painters, the whoever it is that is an expert in their field, they fall in love with the subjects at a very early age, right? Einstein was loving physics from his childhood. And you take that juxtaposition against some of the kids that I taught. And I remember, this was my third year teaching. I went on a field trip as a supervisor. It was a weekend trip up into the mountains. It was the first time some of these kids had ever seen a squirrel. It was certainly the first time they'd ever seen snow. It's just absolutely amazing. And you're saying, wouldn't it be great if they had radio experience? And the answer is absolutely yes. And would it change lives? Yes. Would it change the directions and the trajectories of their lives? It absolutely would. But we have to have the appetite for it. That's what's missing sometimes.
Got to have the wanna.
Yeah.
You want to change it. You want to do it. Yeah.
And the kids eat this stuff up, just like you said, Tim. And that was exactly it. Give them something to solve. It's the endorphin rush from solving a problem that gets people to come back. So if you find something, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say when I was our Boy Scout troop did a what they call a lone troop summer camp. So when they did the National Jamboree down in West Virginia, we went down. We had kids that actually participated. The rest of the troop, we just went down there and found a camp within, I don't know, like half an hour. And we set up and we did our summer camp down there, and just as us. So parents would get together and we would teach basically merit badge classes. And I taught the radio. And I wasn't licensed at the time as a ham, but I taught the radio portion. And so I use shortwave radio, and we would sit there at night after down, and those kids we'd spin through the dial on a shortwave receiver, and all of a sudden they're hearing voices in Spanish, or they're hearing Chinese, or they're hearing Russian, and we're looking at the frequency, and then jumping over to the internet and trying to find most likely what that station was. And the same thing, they just ate that stuff up because it was so cool. That was also the same. I took probably 10 or 15 old PCs with me and let them tear those things apart. So I mean, they were in there, they're ripping, they were stripping boards out, tearing them apart, building new ones, all this stuff, and it was
great.
just some stuff laying around, and it was an experience that most of them had not had the opportunity because they're kids, right? So unless mom and dad are involved in IT and had that stuff laying around, they probably didn't have an opportunity to do that, and they loved it.
That's great, Tim.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So
Chris
Bricker has a good comment there. Disposable tech is all we have now. You can't fix anything anymore. To a degree, yeah, absolutely, Chris.
Tim, to your point real quick about listening to shortwave and wondering what these people are talking about.
Yeah.
We don't talk about this a lot, but Boondock can transcribe and translate from 40 different languages right into English. So if you tune this in and you plug it into your account and you let the transcriptions run and you tell it, well, this is really, I'm listening to Russian right now, it can shoot you out an English transcript.
Can it translate 7200 for me, Mark? Because some of those guys out there.
We don't need it to. I can tell you everything you need to know about your mother, Frank.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's 7 words, right?
Yeah.
And they're all bad.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, just play George Carlin and you'll get the point.
Yep.
I'm not sure we want that stuff to be auto-translated anyway. Like, who the hell needs that?
We could just do some translations for them and take everything mean they say and make it nice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I hear Frank's mother's a lovely woman.
She is. She really is. I mean, Joe Brett even said so. So
everybody says so, Frank. Everybody.
I'm not going to ask how Joe Brett knows your mom, but
oh, you must have missed a couple Tuesdays ago.
Okay. Must have.
Okay, so how do you get kids interested? I know we're all over the place tonight, but who cares, right?
It's a kids table, man. We
you gotta. I think instead of saying, you or I pick up a radio, Tim, like you and I pick up a radio, right? I've been licensed since I think it was 95, could be 94. I don't really remember. How long have you been licensed?
10 years.
10 years. So when you and I pick it up, right, we're talking on it with the emotion and the interest of every experience that we've had on this in that time, right? The first time I was on, 20 or 40 meters or whatever it was and talked to somebody in Australia back in the 90s. When we were in school and we contacted the shuttle flying overhead, right? We did that once. We go into this with all of that emotion and all of that excitement and all of this passion. And then we go to the kid and you're like, hey, look, here's this cool thing. And they're like, well, it's just another rectangle to me, So how do you make those positive experiences? How do you make those positive emotions to begin associating with that? And I think it goes back to what you said earlier. Give them a problem to solve and have the radio be the solution. Create those experiences, the fox hunts, if they're into that thing, or find out what it is that they want to do and go do it. You want to go radio control a RC airplane or whatever. Do you want to have secret codes with your friends over the airwaves? Figure out what it is that interests them and then go from there. That would be because you're right, bringing them into a club meeting where you've got a bunch of, there's some clubs I wouldn't want to be a part of. No kid's ever going to go to those, and talking about budgets and, you know, your marriage or whatever it is that you're talking
rules.
about. Yeah.
Man,
Nobody's
things
ever
like
gonna.
that. No, nobody wants to talk about rules.
Yeah. There isn't a kid at this table, just saying. Yes, Chris Bricker, I'm fat and old and balding, but I'm a kid at heart, damn it.
We're all
That's right.
kids at heart.
Yeah, it's not about age at the kids' table. It's about a state of mind.
Okay, James just said it, right? That
What's
would
that?
frickin' do it. Telemetry on rockets. You take a kid out there and you launch a rocket.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Well, so this actually goes to something that I posted I got a new license plate on my truck,
okay.
and I put it up in X, and I'm like, how do you say you're a ham radio operator without saying a ham radio that you're a ham radio operator? And my license plate is literally 6DOT52, 6.52.
Nice.
I don't want to announce it. It's there. If they know, they know. And I had a kind of a dialogue with a guy, and he wasn't aware that was the national calling frequency for 2 meter. And he was a fairly new ham within a couple of years, but I got to thinking about it, and it's like, I think most people when they technicians, they get involved with, first get involved with hams, they get an HT, so FM 2 meter radio, 70 centimeter, and they gravitate to the repeaters, because that's where everybody's got to get on the repeaters, got to do this. And then they forget that there's a whole world, or maybe they never even knew that there's a whole world of things that you can do on 2 meters and 70 centimeters that's not repeaters. You know, CW, AM, sideband, beacons, satellites, things like your telemetry from your rocket. There's a variety of things that are out there that I don't think we are doing a very good job of letting people know that, or teaching that, or just showing it. It's there. You know, doing the beacons for the fox hunt and things. So I think that's another avenue that we need to look at if we want to start bringing younger people in. I don't want to say kids per se, but just younger people, the millennials and the Zoomers, or the Gen Z. They're more focused on the here and now. Too long didn't read. They don't want to necessarily deal with it. And that's kind of a down, a downside to it, because sometimes, you know, that's part of that instant gratification that everybody is kind of looking to now. I mean, it takes time to build skills. It takes time to get there. So there is that, but there's also quick, short wins that we can put in front of them and guide them down a path that is something, you know, more funner, because we like more funner.
All the fun.
We like all the funs.
Just like all the FARs.
Got to have all the FARs and all the funds.
Exactly.
So Frank's snooping on me right now, which is fine. So Frank's trying to figure out when I was licensed, and he can only go back to 2005. In 2005, Frank, and this is actually going to be my answer, because that lets me know I was licensed in 1995. In 1995, you still had to know Morse.
There you go.
I was a technician plus, and then that got converted in 2005. They did some licensing in the interim, and that got converted to technician or whatever it was then. Just, you know, they changed the license classes. So they would have done that on the anniversary, or the 10-year anniversary of my license. So that lets me know I was licensed in 95. But look up the FRN rather than the thing, and then you can snoop.
Oh, no, I did. I did. And July of 2005, so July of 95 then.
Yeah, or I don't know, whatever the offshoot was for July. I guess it could have been July. I don't really remember. I remember it was in high school, and I got my first radio I bought it off some kid in my trigonometry class. So
I could always go back into the call books that I have in storage somewhere and look it up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So have you and Frank known each other for a while then, I take it, or?
No.
Ham Radio Crash Course. That's how we
Yeah.
met.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Frank's just snooping on me. He's looking into my personals. So
You got to watch out for Frank.
All
darn
the
right you do.
Franks. Yeah.
Although
All the
I while we've been here talking though, Casey's probably written a program that's got all of our back histories and CVs documented in a nice repository.
he can do that. He's scary good. He is scary
Yeah.
good.
And he worked on the Morse code at the same time.
Probably got that fixed too, by the way. and actually, so we do have to wind up here in just a little bit. The Ham Nation is going to be on here at 9 p.m. Eastern, so I want to make sure we drop for that. But I was just thinking, you were talking about listening to Adam. If Adam was up on the mountain or up on the soda, or just any of those guys, or whoever, and you were down, would it be better to get that audio over the air where you have natural atmospheric noise that might get brought in along with it versus right there at the with their pure side tone?
Absolutely. You want the real world condition because you want to train the model that the atmospheric noise is okay. That's not part of the signal. The signal's this. This is what you need to listen for because this is what comes out of it. And it'll make those associations for you. So yeah. And then also too, it should be possible to either using that same model or using an additional one to go through and make corrections for things that get mistranscribed. Or maybe somebody sends the wrong character. The AIs are really good about figuring that out too.
Yeah.
So it would maybe correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So if it was like NEFT, it would be smart enough to say maybe they meant next instead of
yes.
Okay.
And you have to be careful with that, and you can turn it on, and it might be better to do that in a separate program because then you can turn it on and off. But yes, you can absolutely get it to do that, or should I say, Casey can get it to do that. That's something I wouldn't be able to do.
And whenever there's an automatic correction, you can always color code that so you know that okay, the AI decided to change this because it thought it's something different.
Yeah. Oh, I see Jody's on. Jody, I've got something for you here.
Oh, hang on. Let me embiggen it.
Oh, okay.
Go back, Mark.
Here we go. All right.
Oh, I like that.
So Jody, Boondock Tango, you need one. You don't have to pay any tariffs because you can buy all the parts in your home country.
See, Jody, that was Mark looking out for you, buddy.
Get it, baby, get it. All the Canadians are going to leave and never come back from Southern California, the snowbirds. So
we'll be back.
I don't know, man. Some of them are a little hot under the collar, which understandably so.
We don't have time. We don't have enough time to talk about that issue tonight.
No, we do not.
We'll be back. We're all good friends.
Mark, I will just say this. I welcome our 11th province overlords already. So,
oh, wouldn't it be nice? So I'm a secret Canadian sympathizer. Yes, I am, Jody. Yes, I am.
So is Frank.
Elbows up, buddy. Elbows up.
All right. So real quick, in the last few minutes that we've got left here, any parting thoughts, Mark?
Well, let me share some other things that we've got going on. We've got Boondock Edge, which is a lot of people are worried about privacy, understandably so. It will be at some point possible to run your own server. It's pretty buggy now. We're having some issues. That's why we haven't released the code. We're working on it. But you should be able to take your Boondock device and do your own transcription. You don't have to send us your information if you don't want to. There's a lot of other ways to solve this problem, but this lets you connect to our servers for $20. Everything else is noise, right? This is really all you need to be receive only. And when we when we get our act together, which is hopefully very soon, we will sell an add-on board that will let you transmit as well. So we're trying to look out for you guys. Our corporate clients are paying the bills, but we still love you. And we want you to be part of our community. So join our Discord, join our GitHub, get the code, go make it better. I'm certainly not at KC's proficiency level when it comes to coding. So if you are better than me, if you've got better ideas, man, just send a pull request. We'll incorporate them. No problem. KC, what about you, buddy? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I think rightly said. We've put everything out there on GitHub. Try it out. If you have issues, ask us. Come to Discord, have a conversation, and we are happy to add any feature like Morse code is thing we are working on. But there might be a use case that you can think of, and we are happy to make it work and solve a problem that we did not know about.
Absolutely. And really, thank you for the opportunity, Tim.
Oh no, thank you. This
Yep.
this has been
Thank
fun,
you.
and I would like to definitely get you guys back on a little bit later
Sure.
to see what we can do about building some fun projects this summer, and maybe utilizing AI to kind of work through those issues as we get going.
Absolutely. And we got Ham Nation up next with I'm sure Gordo and Josh, and will we have space science from, is it Tabitha? No.
Tamitha Sko, probably.
Yeah.
She just posted an update, and Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, is going to be a guest, it looks like.
Yep.
So
I was getting ready to say that.
One of the hams of the year, according to Hamvention.
He is the ham of the year this year.
Yep.
Don's here. Can we build this with space rated parts? Actually, we totally could. We absolutely could. All we really are on the hardware side is an analog to digital converter and a Wi-Fi interface. We could get space rated parts for that. So anyways, I'm Mark, Kilo Echo 6 Whiskey Oscar Bravo for Boondock Echo.
Echo.
Tango.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Down there, KC. So
Right.
So, all right. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys coming on tonight, and let's go ahead and get it wrapped up and get you guys switched over to Ham Nation. I put links in the chat for it, so make sure you go check it out and let them know that Boondock Echo sent you. So until then, 73 guys.
See y'all.